Hello, welcome back to Audio Storytime. I'm Nathan Joseph and welcome to my workshop. Today we're going to be building those low-cost sound absorption panels that I mentioned in my last video. So I've got all my materials gathered here. So first we've got the purple foam that I mentioned. It's Formular and it's 1 inch by 2 feet by 2 feet. And you can find it at the big box stores. It's about $6 to $8 per panel. So that's the first ingredient. Then the other tools you'll need some scissors for cutting your canvas. So I've got those here. Studio 45 has a couple of irregular shapes left that I want to fill, a couple parallel walls. It's not a full size sheet space, so I'm going to have to cut these in half. So I'll demonstrate that. So I've got a box cutter for that purpose. Then we've got the packing tape, and that's to secure the canvas onto the foam panels. I have a measuring tape so that I can measure out the canvas, although you can do it by just matching to the panel. But I'd like to find the middle of this so I can cut it in half, because I've got 12 inch by 24 inch spaces I want to fill. And then the last part is this is the Gorilla Glue putty. And so this it's like that putty that sticks posters to the wall, or you can use it to stick other things, but the panels are light enough that this is sufficient to hold them to the wall, provided that they're sideways. Remember, I tried on the ceiling, that doesn't work, don't do that. But if they're sideways, this is great. If you have a decent amount of this putty as well, you can create an air gap between the panel and the wall, so then that's yet another different density medium for the sound waves to go through. And so that's another benefit. If you can have a little gap there, basically the sound waves will hit the panel, first they hit the canvas, then the foam, and the stuff that makes it through will then hit the wall and then bounce back off the wall and try and go back through the foam, so you get more absorption. That way, if you have an air gap. So you don't want it just smashed up against the wall as close as you can. You want to have that air gap because that'll help these panels be more effective. Okay, great. So first thing, I've got a piece of plywood under here so that when I cut the foam, it won't go through onto my other panel that I don't want to ruin. So these are 24 inches by 24 inches. So I'm going to find the midpoint here with my box cutter. I'm going to score it there. So I've got a line. I'm going to do the same at the bottom. So I've got another target here. And I'll connect those two lines. So we've got the box cutter there. Okay, so I'm going to take the sticker off. We won't need that anymore. And then for a straight edge, I have another one of these panels, or actually I'll use this other piece of plywood. It's reasonably straight. Actually, it's got a factory edge over here, so I'll use that one. And so I'll line up those two nicks that I made, and you can secure it there. And then the foam is pretty easy to cut. You might have to take a couple passes through. It's difficult to get in one pass. You can cut through this way, so take a couple passes through. And the nice thing about this purple foam, the Formular, is that it's rigid. So rock wool as well, mineral wool, is an insulation that you can use. It's excellent for sound absorption. It's even marketed for that. Okay, so it looks like I'm through here. I'm going to flip it back over and score it on the other side, because it didn't go all the way through. I'm going to line this up. You can kind of make a mess if you just break it and pull it apart, so it's worth cutting. Okay, so that should be through. Pop it there. So we've got two size panels. So I'll set one aside. I don't need my cutting surface anymore. Okay, and so now I've got the canvas to cover it. And so this is enough for two of them. So now you can just lay your canvas out on the bottom. So I measured it out this way. Okay. So now that you can use this as your template, so you don't need to measure the canvas as much, you fold it over the back. This canvas is like drop cloth canvas that they also sell at the big box store. It comes in large sheets. Some 10 by 12 is a common size, but you can get however much you need. Okay, and then from here you want to have a little bit of overlap on the sides. Okay, and actually you only want, let me see what that is. It's about 1.5 inches. So you don't want too much overlap. Yeah, about 1.5 inches to 2 inches is great for that. So I'm going to line it up on this top corner over here so that when I fold it over, it will be about the same on all sides. So I can start by doing the sides because I'll have to trim this. This is for 2 panels. Okay, so you can fold it over there, take your packing tape, and then you can just run it along here. You want to have overlap with the canvas. It has no problem sticking to both the canvas and the foam. And then it has the added benefit of being a nice surface for the Gorilla Glue putty to stick to, because it won't stick as well to canvas. It does work for that, but that nice smooth plastic surface is great for the putty to stick to the wall. Okay, so now that I've got that smoothed over, you can then figure out how much you need to trim over here. Like I was saying, you want about 1.5 inches overlap. So this is 1 inch thick. So somewhere around 2.5 to 3 inches should be great. So I'm going to come down to the edge here and start trimming this. Okay. So you can pull it tight after you get this trimmed, and so that helps keep it neat looking on the other side. And it's canvas too, so if you wanted to paint it, you could do that as well. Or if you have any artist friends who can do that for you, you could add some style with it. So I've cut that a little bit too short, but it looks like as long as you have some overlap, you'll be able to pull it over. So I can pull it tight here. If I wanted, I could adjust. I have a little bit extra on this side. In fact, I might do that. You can pull off the tape a little bit, since I cut it a little too short. And so now I still have overlap here. It'll just make it a little easier to tape on the other side. So just to show you what I'm doing, I've got that there. We got this piece. Now you can pull it tight. I have enough overlap on both sides. It's a little long on this side, so I'm going to trim that before I pull it. Okay. So we've got this here, so now I can pull the other side. Tighten tape that as well. Pull it tight there. Get a little more packing tape. And so you can stick on one end here. You can actually line it up on the canvas first, or it's a little easier to cut it. And then you just have the tape ready. Okay. And then once you stick the tape on the canvas, you can pull them together and secure them to the foam. Okay, so I've got both ends here. You can push with your fingers like this. Pull it over. It's sort of like wrapping a present. Okay. And so smooth it tight there. Now the other sides up here, you can fold the corners in. I'm going to get my tape ready again. Here, get it approximately measured out there. And repeat the process for the top. Okay, so these pull over. Now you want to get it as flat as you can, because if it bulges, the putty has a hard time sticking to the wall as well. So you want to keep that sort of as smooth as you can. If you crumple it up too much, you'll have a harder time sticking it there. A little bit's okay. We got the corner here. All right, so I got that side taped over. Pull it, stick it to the canvas again. Pull it tight. Push down. Packing tape sticks really well to itself, like most tapes. So you're starting to get that secured. Once you go down, get another piece of tape here to finish this out. Okay. A little bit too much. Get it wrapped back up. Okay. Pre-measure that out. And set the tape out. Fold it over. Pull tight. Okay. Put it down. Pull the canvas tight again so it's stuck on the canvas. Pull it against the foam. Smooth it out. A little bit of extra tape. This side will be towards the wall, so no one will ever see it unless it falls down. Then you put it back up. Okay, there we go. There's a panel. Took about, 5 minutes to make. The last bit is you've got your putty. And so you can pull off a little bit of the putty here. Okay. It's pretty strong. And then you just take the putty and you put it on each of the 4 corners of the plastic, and that'll hold really well. All right, so now once I'll put putty in the other 4 corners, 4 corners total, and then we'll get this installed in Studio 45. Okay, so now we have our completed panel. I've put the Gorilla Glue putty on all 4 corners. And so I've got a spot over here that still has bare drywall. So at this point, all you have to do with the panel is you can place it up where you want it to be. So I'm going to slide it under these strings in line with the other one. Okay, and then just push on each of the 4 corners where the putty is. And so that way you get good contact with the wall and the putty. And there, that's it. It's installed. It'll stay up. I'm going to fill in a few more of these corners. I've got a couple more panels to build. I hope this is helpful for you, and this is the most effective and highest value, right? So low cost and very effective, and pretty quick and easy to build. Thanks so much for joining me. We'll see you next time.